Hey guys, Dave here at the Sony booth at Mobile World Congress 2017 in Barcelona, and certainly one of the highlights of the show that I've seen so far from Sony is a new smartphone that they've announced. In fact, there's two phones. There's the XZS and the XZ Premium. Now both of them feature a really interesting technology. We know that smartphones are rapidly growing in the imaging world, and every pro photographer, every consumer photographer pretty much has a smartphone that they use for taking pictures on a daily basis, or indeed, in the case of some pros, as a working tool, as a device for telling stories, for capturing images. And these two new phones from Sony offer something new, something unique in the marketplace, and that is a super slow-mo mode. So we're capturing 720p, so half HD, but it's shooting at 960 frames a second. So put that into perspective, you think about, I don't know, your iPhone, which captures at 240 frames a second. This is a substantial jump forwards. Now to achieve that, they've got some really clever memory technology that they've used, and effectively we've got onboard memory built onto the chip, so that the memory on the chip is acting as a buffer. It's taking the data and it's then effectively shortcutting the time between the data being stored on the sensor and getting into a memory. Now, as I say, the two devices they've got the XZS, which they're showing on a demo behind me, and we've also got the XZ Premium. And the XZ Premium, slightly higher level, slightly more expensive. So it's a 4K HDR screen. The resolution shooting in the super slow-mo is still 720p, and we can have a look at it here. We've got one on the booth, on the stand, and Brendan is going to show us what it does. So we've got this demo here where we've got these balls flying around in the water, and every so often Brendan's hitting a button, and when you hit the button, that's then starting to record the slow motion. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so before that it's just recording normal HD, 720. Look at that, that's remarkable. Okay, so that's the video features. From a photo point of view, Sony seems to have upped their game a little bit. We've got some manual controls, so we've got shutter speed, we've got ISO, we've got white balance, obviously no aperture because it is after all a mobile phone, so we don't tend to get aperture control, but that's a really good sign, that's a really good step forwards. What we don't have is RAW. Now, RAW would be very nice on a phone like this, but, you know, is it essential? It's probably not essential. It would just be a nice to have. It's something that does give you that bit of extra control, which if you're going to use it from a professional point of view, is quite useful. For the sensor from a stills point of view, we're talking about a 19 megapixel sensor. So Sony are claiming that the pixels are a little bit bigger, and that's improving the low light performance. Now that's always been a bit of an Achilles heel for mobile phones, so while they've only got pre-production here, I can't test it. It'll be interesting to see when the phones actually start shipping how good that low light performance actually is. Now, the memory technology that they're using to capture the super slow-mo actually has another feature from a stills point of view. They've got something called predictive capture. Now one of the issues that we face with mobile phones is that there's always a bit of a latency or a shutter lag when you're trying to take a picture. So the way they're using this memory technology or using this capture technology is that you press the button, and instead of just taking the picture at that point, it captures 2 frames before and then 2 frames after. So you can then go through and pick the best frame. So if you've got, I don't know, subject running across the frame, or you're trying to capture that decisive moment, it's going to help you nail the particular image that you want, rather than pushing the button and waiting and realizing you've missed the moment. So do we see this as a nail in the coffin for DSLRs and video cameras? Well, I don't think so. There are still lots of things that mobile phones lack compared to real cameras, and while manufacturers are working very hard to improve the quality, improve the user experience, improve the creative functions, there's just something about using a real camera compared to using a mobile phone that I don't think mobile phones are ever going to be able to replicate. So the way I look at this is it's basically just giving us better user experience with our mobile phone and expanding our creative options, so it becomes a better storytelling tool something that's going to help expand your creativity. And if we keep getting devices that offer things like 960 frames a second in video, I mean, there aren't really any DSLRs that do that at the moment, so I mean, it's quite an impressive tour de force. It's certainly one to keep your eyes on in the future.